So I'm Adam Marsh from Ledge Inc. Our team focuses on delivering quality and manufacturing system solutions by keeping it simple. We use tools like QI macros to streamline PPAPs and QMS work for clients. I'm joined today by the company's president and founder, Jay Arthur, to unpack their approach to quality and what makes the tool so effective. Keeping it simple, just like my father, Fred Marsh, has always stressed for us. Jay, thank you for joining us. Could you maybe give us a little background on yourself and your team at Nowhere?
Well, sure. Yeah, I'm Jay Arthur, author of Lean Six Sigma Demystified, Lean Six Sigma for Hospitals, QI Macros, etc. And I spent 21 years in the phone company, one of the baby bells, US West, developing software and everything from mainframes to mini computers to microcomputers. And, I learned a lot about how that works. Surprisingly, lately, there's been things coming in from academia that said people are mentioning a book I wrote in 1989 called Measuring Programmer Productivity and Software Quality. So I know way too much about software development. It's annoying. But in the phone company, when we got into quality in 1990, most of our employees had a high school education. They weren't statisticians. We weren't going to turn them into statisticians. That would be a dumb idea. Now, at the time, there really wasn't any tool out there that I could afford. I went to my boss and said, well, there's this package out there that's, it's $1,000. You should shut up, go back to work. That's exactly what he said. I thought, oh my gosh, right? So I spent years developing, all these charts using advanced technology like ruled line paper and stuff like. But anyway, so after I left the phone company in 1995, I needed some tools to start to work with clients and so on. And so what I did was, I know how to code, and Microsoft Excel was pretty smart about some things. So I created some macros, and then I was out working with clients on improvement projects, and I'd run a Pareto chart or a histogram. They go, wow, that's cool. Where can I get that? And I'm not that fast, but I'm sure I'm slow, but I figured out maybe I had a product.
There you go.
And so what I did was I created QI macros and launched about 1997. And when we did that, then in 1999, To Err is Human came out, which said healthcare kills about 100,000 people a year unnecessarily. It's actually quite a bit higher than that. It's 250,000 to 500,000 they estimate now. But they had to start to draw some charts to be accredited by the Joint Commission for Healthcare Quality. And they had this weird listserv out there where people would write in and go, how can I draw a control chart? And like 5 nurses would write back and say, buy QI macros. So that started a love affair with healthcare that continues to this day. But it's gone through endless iterations, enhancements, and improvements. When I look back on how primitive I was back then and how exotic the tools are that are in there now, I think. But I'm always thinking about that, average Joe or Susie who has a job and doesn't have time to, figure out all this stuff or struggle with heavy duty software.
Yeah.
And so the QI macros, I didn't know how anybody else built their software. So I did it the way Excel did, which was select some data, click a button, get a chart.
Yep.
Well, it turns out that that's a very smart design decision, because once you select data with the mouse, then I can literally analyze it and help you choose the right control chart or statistic or whatever. And I can actually help you automate all of the stuff that's normally complicated in quality improvement. And I did that. The first one, the control chart wizard, was built in 2006. So it's 20 now. I know where all the charts are, but I just click on the control chart wizard and let it draw it for me. And then we also built a bunch of templates that made it fill in the blank simple, so people can just type in numbers and your charts grow. That automates SPC.
Yeah, we love it for Gauge R&R and MSA. Yeah. Our teams use it all the time there.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, why Excel as the platform, and where does that shine, compared to those full-blown, quality management suites?
Well, I believe almost everybody has Excel or experience with Excel. There's a love-hate relationship with Excel, I might add. People don't always love Excel, but everybody has it, pretty much. And so what it allows people to do is most of your data is in Excel. Most of your big information systems will dump data into Excel.
Yep.
So like healthcare, medical records, purchasing system, anybody will dump data into Excel, where Excel will go get the data from there for you. And so that makes it a great place to analyze. And Excel is super powerful, and most of us use very little of it, including me, right? So that seemed, I was building it for me, and then I discovered it would help other people, and so it went from there.
So that's excellent, and I can tell you our team, it's really a gateway into using these tools. When I tell customers that you're going to go buy another software suite, that they essentially have to learn a whole new program. When you're using what you're using, they can use the knowledge they already have in Excel and then drive with it. I'd like to take maybe a step back and look about that initial, what problem did you set out to solve in the first place, and why did you build it?
Well, the problem I set out to solve was that I was tired of drawing charts by hand.
That's great.
So I needed tools to help me do that on the fly. And laptops used to be these big, ugly, clunky things, but Excel would run on them, and I could carry it around and work with clients. So I was doing it to serve myself. And then I discovered that it helped other people. And so that's become more of my focus. I consult almost never, but I help millions of people around the world solve problems using quality. Well, I was talking to a group the other day, and I was demonstrating the QI macros. Excel has like a little mini Visio built into it.
Yep.
And so we have value stream maps and automated fishbone diagrams. A few years back, somebody says, I hate drawing fishbones by hand. Can you figure out how to make that easier? I thought, I don't know. I'll have to work on it.
Yeah.
And of course, I did figure out how to do that. Right. But anyway, I was demonstrating doing a value stream map, and the guy said, "Oh, I don't need Visio anymore."
Oh, that's great.
Right. Because most people don't. Yeah. And then you can share it with anybody else who has Excel.
Exactly.
This is the magic behind Excel. It's what an engine, right?
Well, and just keeping it simple, right? Like let's not add more platforms. Let's work with what they have.
Right.
I also wanted to talk about okay, so a lot of our audience lives in what I call PPAP land, right?
Okay.
So maybe walk us through how QI Macro would support those core tools, maybe aligns with AIAG requirements, and all without trying to bury people in new software.
Yeah, so you can also build forms in Excel. And so when we got into the automotive industry action group stuff, started with Gauge R&R, the basic Gauge R&R. And then, we can build out all the forms for PPAPs. We can also build out all the forms for FMEA.
Yep.
So if you have, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of, where are all those things? Oh, that's measurement systems analysis. I have all the
AIAG books sitting there ready to go.
Yeah, all the
absolutely.
AIAG books.
Mine's sitting out on our table ready for use, right?
Right. And so, but what I could do was create the forms, and then there are certain things that are common pieces of data that show up in each one of those forms. So I make the common data, I link it to the other forms. So if you put it in here, it shows up over there. Yep. And so you can build a whole PPAP thing from beginning to end. And if you need to tweak it, I don't care, tweak it, right?
Yeah, that's great.
I'm building you the template to get going.
And you're not like forcing them into hey, it has to be this way. You're getting them, 90% of the way there. Yeah.
So we have A3s and 8Ds and SIPOC diagrams and all kinds of templates for things that people need. And we have a little thing in the upper right hand corner of the QI macros called Find Tool. If you click on Find Tool and type in a keyword like SIPOC, it'll pop up the template for you. So you don't have to hunt and gather. And I get tired of trying to find stuff in here. There's hundreds of templates.
Yeah. Well, and you think about even how Excel changes, the ribbons once in a while. It's so much better to be able to just dive in. All right. So I'm interested in your strategy then on how do you get that team of Excel users into those like SPC like doers and in a quick way that they're out and actually executing with this stuff.
Yeah. So normally when I'm training, so we have a 1 hour training on our website under our training for healthcare and for manufacturing. And so I do a demonstration. You can stop the video and then do it yourself. And we have all kinds of test data. So you open up the test data that I opened up, you run a chart, and you learn how to select some data, click a button, get a chart.
Yeah.
Select some data, click a button, get a chart. And that, once you've learned that, you know most of everything about how it works. Or if you open up a template and start dropping numbers into it, your chart grows automatically. So you don't have to know anything about SPC formulas. Our thing will automatically find all of the out of control points in your data, if there's any. It'll do process changes automatically for you. So
that's a great word. That's a great word, by the way. I might have to steal that. Yeah, that's great.
You got it. Go ahead. Feel free. Right? It's just an idea. So when I was training people early on, before I built the control chart wizard, trying to teach people decision trees, oh my gosh, people struggled and they were afraid they weren't going to be able to find the right chart. And because of that, they chose not to try and do it. And so then they didn't use the control chart. So it's like the frustration barrier in front of SPC and a lot of Six Sigma stuff is massive.
100%.
But if I can automate all of that, what am I doing? It makes it fast to learn, easier to use, and people just jump over it.
Well, how do you prevent that wrong chart, wrong limit mistake for beginners?
Easy. Select some data, click on one of our wizards.
Yeah.
We have a chart wizard. People used to call me up and go, Jay, I have this data. What chart would I choose? And I said, well, so I built the chart wizard, and it up on the upper right-hand side. Well, if you select the data, click that chart wizard, it'll go, what can I do with this data? So it might do descriptive statistics. It might do a box and whisker plot. It might do a control chart or a histogram or whatever. But it will go do everything it can think of to do with that data. Right? So
yeah. So you're going to get the full gamut of it then, and you can pick and choose what's important for you.
I used to spend so much time drawing a chart that I didn't want to let go of it when we do it manually. But now I draw lots of charts and throw most of them away because they don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
But when I find one that does tell me something, I go, ooh, there's one. So that is the secret sauce. And it's so funny when I would do these trainings in front of a classroom. I'd show them how to do it with our test data and show them how to do it. And we had people in there that knew nothing about Excel and people who knew too much about Excel. But they'd start doing it, and the experts would show the non-experts how to do one.
Yeah.
And then I knew I'd won. They would go out to their server, pull down their own data, and start charting their own stuff.
Yep.
Right. When that happens, I'm done. They've got it.
Yep. All right. So you walk into a shop, plant manager's there and says, you got 5 hours to train my team. What are you going to cover and in what order?
Easy peasy. Right? So let's get everybody behind a computer. And I'm going to say, this is a control chart. This is the good things it does for you. It'll help you detect out of control conditions, do whatever it is, and help you make sure you have a nice stable process. Let's show you how to do that with some data we already have. Now, do you have data like that? Yeah. Well, let's grab that. Let's draw that chart. I used to only spend about an hour teaching people how to draw. And then I spent the next 4 hours teaching them how to analyze what they were determining from their own stuff. If I can get them over the hump and into drawing all these charts, then we can start to analyze things. They go, right? That's why I have the, out on our website, you can pick up the Agile Process Innovation ebook.
Yep.
You can download that from our Agile site. And I think QImacros.com/API will get you there. But that says this is how you can train people in a day and get results. What?
Yeah.
That's just alien talk right there.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Because we're used to these 2-week, 4-week trainings, and very often it's sad, but I talk to a lot of people who have belts of varying colors, and when they call me up and they tell me what kind of belt they have, I know they're going to ask me a dumb question because they know we've stuffed too much stuff in their brain. They don't know where to start.
They don't know that application. When I look at, I would say the one we use the most for you guys is Gauge R&R, and what I love about it compared to other tools is you give me a very quick red light, green light on if we're good or if we're not. Right. And so my customers don't need to be an expert in Gauge R&R. No. They need to say, is this good or not, and then be able to move on. And so that's a huge deal for them.
Well, one of the things we've found is people are really annoyed because typically people try and take 10 parts off of a production line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're all exactly the same.
They don't have one that failed. Right?
There's not enough part variation for the Gauge R&R to work.
So you need to have something that fails, right? So I can, or at least some wide tolerance so we can
something that spans the spec tolerance. So startup scrap, shut down scrap, and something in between. Then you can get your NDC up above 5, and then everything works. But people used to go, I hate your Gauge R&R, it's crap. No, you just set up your Gauge R&R wrong.
100. Well, people don't want to admit there's a bad part out there, and they think that's what they're doing with that. And it's like, no, we're just checking what you're measuring, guys.
Are you any good at measuring things?
Yeah, there you go. All right, I want to fire a couple questions at you, sort of lightning round, if that works for you. All right, your favorite underused feature of QI macros?
Favorite underused feature? Probably the find tool thing, because you can go find all the stuff that's in the QI macros very quickly. I also find most people are using. So we go around to conferences and we see. I look at all the poster presentations, and I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
I stroke tally what kind of chart everybody's using. And the vast majority of them are using line, bar, and pie charts. The Three Stooges of charts. They're the Dumb and Dumber Three Stooges of charts from the last century, essentially unchanged since Microsoft Excel was built. Why isn't everybody using control charts and Pareto charts and histograms and etc.? It's because it's too hard to do.
Yeah.
And humans just won't do it. But with QI macros, we make it super easy to do, and so start using the tools of quality.
So that's really, and so with we offer our tool 80/20 quality, and with that, we're really focusing on doing those Pareto charts, but helping our goal is to collect that data, right? And then that data that I can feed into your system to help identify failures and look for those trends. So that's really interesting. All right. How about a chart that you'd retire if you could? You might have already answered this one.
Well, besides Excel charts, yeah. I think, we have a lot of things like Q-sums and EWMAs, and there's a lot of exotic charts out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I haven't found an application for them yet. Doesn't mean there isn't one.
Yeah.
It just means, but I find statisticians try and dream up new ways to display things so that they can put their name on it, or I don't know what it is. But if you learn the 3 variable charts, the X, MR, the X bar R, and the X bar S, and the 4 attribute charts, and the C, NP, P, and U. And if you need them, the G and the T chart for weird events, right?
Yeah.
If you learn those charts, that'll cover just about everything on the planet. And Dr. Donald Wheeler even says, the XMR chart is the Swiss Army knife of charts. So I found that I can use that for darn near everything.
Yeah. All right. So one more lightning question, and that's maybe a myth about SPC that you'd love to banish.
First of all, that it's only for manufacturing.
That's great. Your talk about healthcare is really interesting.
You can use it for financial metrics. You can use it for deaths over arterial bypass graft surgeries, patient falls. I mean, anything that's time series data, I can plot it.
Yeah.
I can plot it for you. The other thing I would do is I would go back. When Schuhart did this, and I don't know why they did it this way. First of all, statistical process control. To the vast majority of the world, when you say statistical, their brain shuts down.
Yeah.
It stops hearing.
Yep.
And then you go process, and they go, oh, that's boring. And then you say control. And we're in America. Nobody likes control, right? That's just terrible. So I've renamed it. SPC stands for Smart Performance Charts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Smart Performance Charts.
I love it. Interesting. And I got to tell you, you should see, I'm an industrial engineer, and I taught some of this, and I went through the courses in it, and everybody's eyes glass over as soon as we start having our SPC days. So it's no question. We could find better ways to market that and get it in front of people that no, this is how you can actually make some great improvements. All right, so little broader question, if that's all right.
Okay.
How do you think AI is going to impact what you guys do, and do you see any usage or plugins that you guys are looking at?
Well, the way I think about it, like our improvement project wizard that'll take your raw data and turn it into an entire improvement project, is a type of programmatic AI.
Yep.
So I figured out how to do that, and then I coded it in the software to do that for me automatically. That's a type of programmatic AI. I think I'll tell you the truth, I'm not sure I even know how to ask good questions of AI to figure out what it will do for me.
Yeah.
It's because I spent 20 years Googling, and keyword searching.
Question. Yeah, you finally got good at that, right?
I'm excellent at that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to say, how do I find an Italian restaurant near me that has tablecloths and is affordable that I can take a date to, like if you were single, right?
Yeah.
That my wife might enjoy. That's an AI question.
Yep.
And it'll come up with 3 or 4 good answers.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go Google Italian restaurant.
And then Google,
and look at all
what's the pricing there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I had to figure out some code to do some analysis. I wanted to find all the comments on all of our templates.
Yeah.
And I had to write the code to do that. In the old days, I would Google certain things like for each, whatever. Well, when I did that, AI gave me a perfectly formatted subroutine with perfect code to go do that for me. I used to have to go to 4 or 5 different tech sites, look at the examples, extract these ideas. No, it gave me perfectly formatted code. Perfectly.
So it's really interesting. So one of the things that we're using it for is a lot of we're using it to produce some things, right? Helping us with risk analysis, helping us to build an FMEA, helping identify some of these risks and measure them and think through that process. But one of the things I think has been really powerful is I'm trying to get my customers to pass their first article in their PPAP on the first time. right? So it doesn't get rejected by the customer. They have to do some work.
Right.
And so we've built some tools where we can take and say, hey, customer's asking for a level 3 PPAP. Our tool is an expert in what that means. So all you got to do is drop all of your documents in. Here's what I'm giving the customer, right? Here's every file, and it will scan them, look for errors, look for spelling problems, but also look for things that are missing, right? So what can we catch before we send this to the customer that first time, so we can increase that first pass rate? Because that's money in the bank, right? That's how do we get this through faster?
Oh, it's much better at fact checking and typo finding than we are.
Yeah. So that's been my team's looking for those use cases, right? And taking tools like yours. And I don't see AI replacing tools like what you have, right? Because I'm confident in the answers that I get from you. Okay. Am I confident in every statistical and math problem that I get out of AI? No, that's a different story.
Right.
So I think, what you've got is interesting, and then being able to take that and use AI to help develop that, next step is pretty interesting. Okay. Well, that is super helpful. Anything else you'd like to leave us with today?
Well, just back on the AI thing, like people are using Power BI to combine data sets. I'm thinking you could ask AI to do that for you.
Oh yeah.
Pull this data over here, pull this data over here, put it in this thing, come up with this, put it in a format that I can use.
So I wrote a piece on this, and this is interesting, where I see, data silos used to be a problem. Okay, so we all tried to use one system if possible and put everything in there. Now that system is horrible about what it does, but it's got everything. Right. But now with using AI as that connector between systems, I think we can have good systems, right, and use AI to play between them.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a very interesting. AI is like a seismic event in technology.
Yeah.
Seismic. I mean, not just trivial, right? It's a level 7 or 8 earthquake going on out here. Yep. And I think we're all going to learn about that. I'm still trying to learn. I have to unlearn a lot of things that I learned. Right? This is the terrible thing about life. You have to unlearn things to learn the new thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I see that if you can be good at Google, you can be good at AI. Right. It's just going to take time.
Stepping stone. Yeah.
It's a stepping stone. Right. And so all right. Well, if somebody wants to try QI macros or wants to dive in, where should they start for you guys?
Just go out to QImacros.com. That's QIMACROS.com. Guess what? If I was doing it over again, I'd have named it something different, because that name is hard to spell. And you can get right to downloading a 30-day trial right on our website and start playing with it, and take our little 1-hour training class under the training section. And in no time at all, you'll be hot and rocking.
All right. Well, I really appreciate it. So that's a wrap. So huge thanks to Jay Arthur and his team at Nowhere and QI Macros for the work that you're doing to keep SPC practical and simple. It's QImacros.com. If you want to try the exact tool that our team here at Ledge uses, you'll find those getting started guides. And like he said, there's a free 30-day trial. If you'd like help integrating SPC, PPAP, or broader QMS workflows into your internal systems or processes, I'm sure Jay's available for some of that, and our team here at Ledge would love to partner with you. So there's going to be a link here as well for ledgeinc.com. I'm Adam. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thanks.